How's it going, boys? Johnny Superb Man here, bringing you more NHL 12 videos. And this time we're going to do another regular season simulation to see which team's going to win the Stanley Cup this year. We're using NHL 12 this time. If you guys remember, a while back we simulated using NHL 11 and it was horrible. It was all over the place. I mean, Edmonton and Minnesota were the two Western Conference finalists. So NHL 12, they said their simulation engine is a lot better. And look here, here's all the team's overall stats. In the Northwest Division, it's clear to see who the best team is. It's the Vancouver Canucks. You know, even though they lost in the Stanley Cup Finals, they're still a solid team, still arguably the best team in the league. The Pacific Division, now look at here. This is very interesting. I mean, you have your LA Kings and your San Jose Sharks who are stacked. But look, your Anaheim Ducks, their offense and goaltending are 78 and 79. I mean, goaltending maybe, but I thought Hiller was pretty good. But offense, I mean, they got Perry. Oh my God, that shocked me. And look here in the Central Division, I mean, pick your poison. Chicago, Detroit, Nashville, St. Louis, all stacked in this game. Southeast Division, Carolina Hurricanes take the crown. This is a weak division as well. You got the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, who's very weak goaltending. I guess they don't have a lot of faith in Rolison. Washington, who's strong, and Winnipeg, who they don't even have the real symbol for. The Atlantic Division, the Devils, 82, the Islanders, 79, the Rangers. Oh, look here. This is a stacked division. The Rangers, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. Oh my God, look at that. 92, 89, 93. Watch out for this division. I feel sorry for the Devils. They ain't going nowhere this year. The Northeast Division, this is my division. And look down here at my baby Leafs. My God, 92 overall in offense. Oh my God, if that comes true this year, that's going to be freaking amazing. I highly doubt it though. Goaltending takes a hit. Obviously, Reimer and Gustafsson aren't superstars yet, especially not Gustafsson, Jesus. Okay, so this should be very interesting. I have to pick one team, so I'm going to go with the Maple Leafs. Don't worry, I'm not going to change anything about their lines. I'm going to let the computer change the lines. I'm not going to make any trades. I'm not going to do anything like that. We're going to let this simulation and this sim engine completely take over. Now, these are the rosters as well that came with the game, okay? I haven't touched the rosters at all. I haven't edited any players, nothing like that. Now, I'm going to go to the end of the regular season and simulate, okay? Now, while it's simulating, what I want to talk about is, if you guys could name one player on every team that is most valuable to that team, who is it, okay? Here's my list. For the Anaheim Ducks, I have to go with Corey Perry, okay, 50 goals. And he's still only, 27? Definitely think it's Corey Perry. Boston, I think it's Chara. I mean, without Tim Thomas, you still have Rask, who's ready to go. Without Chara, they have no defense. I'm sorry. If you ask me, Chara is a centerpiece to that team. Buffalo, it's still Miller time. Calgary, Iginla is still the man there. Carolina, it's still Stahl. Skinner is a nice secondary now, but Stahl and maybe Ward if you want to argue. Chicago, Taves. Taves is better than Kane. Kane's amazing, but Taves is the captain, the center. Taves is the man there. Colorado, I have to go with Varlamov. They traded away a great draft pick. If they don't do good, that's going to be a top 10 draft pick. So they traded away a great player for Varlamov, so he has got to produce. Columbus, Rick Nash, that's his team. Dallas, I don't know. Louis Eriksson maybe. Detroit, Datsuk, he's the man. Edmonton, Taylor Hall, I think. Nugent Hopkins is still a couple years away. Taylor Hall really is, I think he's going to be a superstar. Florida, they're going nowhere. They have nobody. LA, I think it's Richards. I think he's going to be a good centerpiece. Him and Kopitar, it's going to be interesting. Minnesota, you got to give it to Heatley. I mean, they traded away Havlat. Heatley, he's a old 50-goal scorer. You have to say it's him. Montreal, Carey Price. It's all about Carey Price. If he does shit, Montreal's not going anywhere. Nashville, you can argue Shea Weber or Pekka Rinne. I'd take your pick. I think it's Shea Weber, but Pekka Rinne, he got them to the second round, hands down. New Jersey, I don't know with New Jersey. Brodeur, I'd have to say. If Brodeur goes back to old Brodeur, yeah, they can make the playoffs, but he's getting older. You can't blame him for stepping down a little bit, The New York Islanders, John Tavares, he's already played amazing, but if he can start producing 100-point seasons, man, John Tavares can be a stud. The New York Rangers, you got to go with Richards. What's he going to do with Marian Gaborik? The Ottawa Senators, nowhere to be found. Maybe Jason Spezza, but still, they ain't doing nothing. Philadelphia, Brzgalov, what's that goalie going to do for them? Are they a playoff team? Are they a Stanley Cup winning team? We're going to see. Phoenix, I don't really know Phoenix too well, but I'd have to say Keith Yandel. I know he's a good young defenseman, so maybe they're building their team around him. But maybe also that Kyle Turris guy, but I don't know about him yet. Pittsburgh, obviously Sid the Kid, Crosby. You can say Sid, Crosby, and Jordan Stahl, those three centers, but it's Sidney Crosby's show. Hopefully he gets healthy. San Jose, Joe Thornton. St. Louis, their whole team, they have a great young team, but if I had to narrow it down to one, I'd have to say Chris Stewart. He's a nice little pickup. Tampa, Steven Stamkos, it's his turn to take the reins from LeCavalier. Toronto, we have a great team, but it all relies on James Reimer. If James Reimer is not good, we're not making the playoffs, boys. But if James Reimer plays like the James Reimer did when the last half of the season there, we might just be a playoff team. Watch out. EA Sports obviously thinks we have a 92 offense, so please God. Vancouver Canucks, they're still going to be an amazing team. They're going to be in the playoffs. But it all comes down to Luongo. He's an amazing goaltender, but he's not the best goaltender. Tim Thomas outplayed him, so he needs to win it for them, basically, if they're going to get to the playoffs again. He needs to steal them a game or two. He didn't do that in the finals. And Washington, if Vokoun can be good, if Washington finally has a goalie, a consistent goalie, oh man, it might be Washington's years to be at least in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, they can definitely, with their firepower, they can definitely get by that second round. And look here, EA Sports obviously thinks that Washington's doing good too. Vokoun, Luongo, Kiprusoff, and Miller, and Fleury all lead the top 5 in save percentage. That's good. You know, all those teams that you expect to be competitive. You don't see Varlamov up there like we did in NHL 11. And look here, points. Getzlaf, Crosby, Taves, Kovalchuk, and Ovechkin. All players that you expect to be up there. Okay, so the simulation engine is good. We don't know about injuries, so Crosby and Getzlaf might have missed a game or two. So, that, you know, I'm sure maybe with an 82-game season for sure, you might see 100-point scores. But look at that. Crosby had 50 goals. Okay, so with a simulation, you can have 50 goal scores. That's really good. Crosby, Ovechkin, Penner. All right, so the best players in the game are getting the good goals. So it's not just random. I felt like in NHL 11, it was really random. And look, if you look in the top right, Phil Kessel had 30 goals. That's about right. He's had 30 goals, I think, in the last 3 seasons. 36 to 38 in the last, I think it was the first of those last 3 seasons. And look here in the Eastern Conference. Pittsburgh, Boston, Washington, Tampa, Buffalo, Toronto, Carolina, Philly. Wow. It's pretty similar, eh? Only, what was the Rangers and Montreal didn't make it in from last year. Now in the Western, Vancouver, LA, St. Louis, Calgary, Chicago, Detroit, Anaheim, San Jose. Very similar. Only Nashville and Phoenix didn't make it in. They got bumped for St. Louis and Calgary. You know what? That's pretty realistic. I mean, Nashville, they might not make the playoffs if Pekka Rinne falls off, or you know what I mean, or if Shea Weber gets injured. This simulation engine, I can already tell, is a lot better. Now let's simulate the playoffs and see who's taking Lord Stanley Cup. It can't be the Leafs. Look at this. We're against, what, Washington in the first round? What? The Leafs take out Washington in the first round. Do you believe it? Well, Washington is notorious for choking. And the Leafs, they might be hungry. Oh, the Leafs lost to Carolina in the second round. That's all right. If the Leafs got to the second round this year, I'd be grateful. That'd be a great year. And your Stanley Cup champions are the Carolina Hurricanes. Wow. Indeed. Oh, my God. Jeff Skinner, Eric Stahl, Cam Ward, you know are the centerpieces of that. My God. Do you guys really think that the Carolina Hurricanes can win the Cup? I don't know. It's interesting. And they beat the Vancouver Canucks in the final in 6 games. Uh-oh. Vancouver's going to riot again. Watch out, everybody. Oh, my God. Look at the Western Conference here. Oh, who do we got? Who do we got? Wow. You know what? The Final Four are pretty realistic. You got Vancouver and Anaheim versus Chicago and Detroit, and Vancouver and Detroit in the Western Conference Final. That's a lot more realistic than seeing Edmonton and Minnesota in the final. Now in the East, what do you got? Let's see here. Wow, Pittsburgh and Washington out in the first round. Your Final Four are Tampa, Philly, Toronto, and Carolina. And your Final 2 are Carolina and Philly. You know what? That's not as crazy as it seems. I mean, they got a good goaltender in Carolina. They stacked up on Thomas. Thomas Coverley wins the Cup back-to-back years. Great for him. Jesus, go retire, buddy. Oh, my God. So what do you guys think? You think Carolina Hurricanes have a chance? I don't know. I just don't know. I think it could happen, but I think Vancouver would take them. But we're going to see. That's why we watch the game. All right, boys, so for Johnny Superman and Domsky, take it easy. And if you want to see any more videos of NHL 12, just comment below and let me know what you want to see. See you later, boys.